And for the first speaker of this afternoon's class, we'll be calling on the Dean of the Albuquerque, New Mexico, Dr. Fred Allen, who is also a member of the Board of Trustees.
Again, thank you very much. I have really and truly enjoyed my visit and stay. I want to thank the Lansing Branch School for putting on such an event. It was very informative and very uplifting to have the brothers to come together for a common cause, to learn and know something definite about their Heavenly Father and His Son. Now, you already know my nature. When we have somebody that's new and returning guests, I want to go for them. And you all have to just tag along. We are truly, truly blessed in this school by the vision and revelation that was revealed to the founder, Dr. Henry Clifford Kinney, in the year 1931. The things that he brought to our attention caused us to recognize that no man could conceive and declare the things that he presented to us without having a direct communication with the Creator. And that's what we have here. Now, I'm going to try to stay within the context of what we're down here about. But I got to be very, very basic and very plain about this. Now, the book of Revelation is a book the world has pondered over, fought over, cried over, wept over, trying to understand that book. And the founder of the school says, if they don't understand Revelations, they don't understand Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, they don't understand it. Because really, Revelation means to be revealed. So it means that it's revealing what the others wrote. It's verifying. It's confirming what they wrote. And the founder many times would try to, not try, he did. I'm going to say try. And I want to say this also. I'm not no more saying he had a divine vision. See, he proved it beyond a shadow of doubt that he did have a revelation. And he imparted it to us in simplicity and in truth. There's nothing that you let a man that was very, very humble and went about to try to instruct the things that Yahweh gave him genuine and true. He was not a hypocrite about it, and he took on anybody that come. Now, after saying that, he said, now we could take this Bible from Genesis to Revelations, and he would do it within 15 minutes. Now, you might not be able to follow him when he goes through that, but he can do it. You know what I mean? You have to be listened to because he's caught up in the Spirit talking about it. Because he looks at the thing when he actually saw the vision, it was real to him. And therefore it was convincing to him to try to impart it to mankind that they might comprehend and understand what he saw. And what we have on these charts is nothing more than it revealed or illustrated on these charts. Now, let's see if we can make some sense out of this whole thing real quickly. And this is going to be, I know we only got 2 speakers, right? 3 speakers? How many got? 2 speakers. Okay, I'll divide the time up that. I'll get down when you tell me to get down. I'm obedient. Now, look. I want to try to make something really simple. The book, the Bible, is written in an enigma. It's a mystery. And most mysteries got to have somebody to be around to solve the mystery. And the founder came to us and solved the mystery to us. And the key to that mystery was this tabernacle pattern. That was one of the keys of it. The other thing he brought to our attention was that Isaiah 8:20, to the law and to the prophet. If they speak not according to this word, it's because there's no light or no understanding in them. Those are key things, folks. That's why we won't be deceived by things. We hold those things true. Somebody comes to us anything different, we're not going to stumble it. We're not going to buy it. Because it's lined up right on top, all the way down. Down. Now, let me get to this thing. Oh boy, it's so much. I'm trying to deal with the scriptures that you had read. We read over in Exodus, of Moses and children of Israel coming by the land of Egypt through the divided waters in the Red Sea and into the wilderness. Come to Mount Sinai. Now, Yahweh, there's a number of events that took place here. And he has Moses to have Israel clean up for 3 days. And on the third day, he says he's going to speak to them. And that day that he spoke to them was, in our calendar, June the 6th. Now, he spoke the Ten Commandment law down to these people. What does that do? He spoke the Ten Commandment law down to these people. And that meant the law was given to Israel. And one of the things that people do not understand, this was a body of people that Yahweh had chose out of the world as a typical people. That meant everybody else was Gentiles. And this law was only given to them and them only. I know it's hard because we've been taught that we're trying to keep something that was not given to us. And that's really the hard thing for us to understand that. But now when we come to understand that after he gave that law, then he took Moses up into the top of the mountain and showed him in a vision the creation of the heavens and earth. And he went about, and after he showed him the creation of the heavens and earth, he went about and gave him specific details of building this here tabernacle down here in the wilderness. And gave him the instruction of how the priest was to function in the tabernacle. All that was shown to the man Moses atop Mount Sinai. Let me have this verse, Exodus 24, 25, 8 and 9.
25, 8 and 9.
And then the 40th verse.
And let them make me a sanctuary.
Let them make, now this is Yahweh Elohim telling Moses, let them make me a sanctuary.
That I may dwell among them.
That I may dwell among them. Now, note, he said that I may dwell among them. Where was he dwelling at then? We didn't stop to think about that. We read over those type of things many times. See? He cautioned and said he was dwelling in the tent away from the camp that they were at. But he said, now make me a sanctuary that I might dwell among them. See? Read on.
According to all that I show thee.
According to all that I show thee.
After the pattern of the tabernacle.
After the pattern of the tabernacle. Read.
And the pattern of all the instruments thereof.
Now all the instruments, they were also a pattern. See? The pattern of the instruments that was in the tabernacle was to read.
Even so shall you make it. 40th verse. And look that thou make them.
Now he's cautioning, he says, Moses, now look that thou make them, read.
After their pattern.
After their pattern.
Which was showed thee in the mount.
Which was showed thee in the mount. Now we go on and read that 9 months later they built and erected this here tabernacle. Now when Moses saw this here tabernacle, he was up here in a cloud. A cloud was overshadowing the top of the mountain. And Moses was in the cloud seeing this in a vision. It was a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. Now when the children erected this tabernacle down here in the 40th chapter of Exodus, you find that the Spirit of Yahweh came out and filled the tabernacle, and no man could minister therein. Now I mean the cloud engulfed this here tabernacle, which is confirming what Moses saw up here. Now, while he was up on top of this mountain, the children of Israel were building the golden calf down here. And when he came down from the mountain with the tables of stone, the first table of stone, he broke them. When he saw that they was in idolatry and worshiping idols. He then went on and had to cause Israel to drink of he had the golden calf ground up and put in water and made them drink of it. And then he went on to cry unto them, to Yahweh, about their sins. Let me have it, 32nd chapter, in the 31st verse.
32 and 31. And Moses returned unto Yahweh.
Now, after they destroyed this here golden calf. Now he returned unto Yahweh, read.
and said, oh, this people have sinned a great sin.
These people have sinned a great sin. Read.
And have made them gods of gold.
And made them gods of gold.
Yet now, if thou wilt forgive their sin,
if thou wilt forgive their sins,
and if not blot me,
if not blot me,
I pray thee,
I pray thee. He's willing to die for their sins. Read.
out of thy book, which thou hast written.
Which thou hast written. Now, this is the first time we read about a book that Yahweh wrote. And that was, he saw it, and he said, blot me out of the book which thou hast written. So when he's up in the top of the mountain, he saw a book that had names written in it. Had some names blotted out in it. That was the book of life. Now every man, woman, and child that comes in the world is in the book of life. Yahweh knows you by name. He proved it by when he said Moses, he's out there in the waters. So Moses. He said, hey, you come here. Tell me what your name is. He's called him by name. He knew him by name. And if you check through the scripture, you find he called everybody by their name. He knows it by name. Now I'm trying to show you that's the book of life back here of Moses. Now if John's going to confirm it, he's got to talk about the book of life down there. So we're trying to show you that this book, when I came in this school, I thought the book was about that thick. And you started coming to school, that book just kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller till it got to be thin. Because he started putting the book together. It makes sense then. See? Now here what we're trying to show you, we had to confirm. Now here's Moses, he's on a mountain here, on top of Mount Sinai, having this vision that he had on top of Mount Sinai. Now, read Genesis 1, thinking about the 10th verse, or where he says he's on the island. But maybe it might be able to go there. Revelation. Well, what did I say? Well, I'm thinking about Revelation. I'm thinking about Genesis. Same thing. Revelation 1 and about I don't know where it's 9, right.
Revelations 1 and 9.
1 and 9. Okay, read.
I, John, who also am your brother.
Oh boy. Well, go ahead, I ain't got time to read.
And companion in tribulation.
Companion in tribulation.
And in the kingdom.
And in the kingdom.
And patience of Yahshua the Messiah.
Read.
Was in the isle that is called Patmos.
Now he's on an island which is called Patmos. Now what is an island? Island is a mountain protruding out of the sea. So he's on a mountain. Moses is on a mountain. We're talking about verifying things. And it's surrounded by water. Now when you go back in Genesis, give me Genesis 1, that's what I said. That's what I'm trying to get. Genesis 1:1. I'm trying to show you that we're putting the book together. We're taking the book of Revelation and showing you how he's got to verify what Moses said. See? Read.
For the word of Yahweh and for the testimony of Yahshua the Messiah. I was in the Spirit on the Sabbath day.
Wait. I want Genesis 1.
Genesis 1 and 1. In the beginning, Yahweh Elohim created the heaven and the earth.
He created the heaven and the earth. Read.
And the earth was without form.
The earth was without form. Read.
And void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep.
Darkness was upon the face of the deep.
And the Spirit of Yahweh moved upon the face of the water.
And the Spirit of Yahweh moved upon the face of water. Now look, we're talking about the earth being inundated with water. That's what Moses is saying in his vision. Here's John on the Isle of Patmos. He's on an island surrounded by water. In the beginning, he's out here on the Isle of Patmos to verify what you got back here with Moses. See? One is just verifying the other. So what John is on the Isle of Patmos, what his life is preserved for, is to verify and to confirm what Moses wrote. Now Moses, when he went up in the mountain, he saw this great anthropomorphic being, described in Exodus 24th chapter 9 and 10 verse. See? And then when he saw that form, and then Yahweh showed him the 6-day account of the creation, he saw him make the man. He was able to say that the man was made in like an image of this form he saw here. So we're seeing that what he saw here in Exodus, the 24th chapter, 9, just get it so everybody can understand, be on the same page. I just want to...
Exodus 24:9. Then went up Moses and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu,
right,
and 70 of the elders of Israel.
Just like we had to illustrate on this chart. Read.
And they saw the Elohim of Israel.
They saw the Elohim of Israel. Now that was a vision. They were not seeing them with their natural eye. This was a vision. Read.
And there was under his feet, as it were, a paved work of a sacrifice.
He's got feet. Read.
And as it were, the body of heaven in his clearness.
He's got a body of heaven in his clearness. Read.
And upon the nobles of the children of Israel,
And upon the nobles of the children of Israel,
he laid not his hand.
he laid not his hand. Now, this translation, it describes the shape and form of a man. And we can verify it over in Ezekiel 1 and 26. Now, what we're just showing that he saw this here form. See? And then we said that this Yahweh Elohim transformed into this tabernacle, which you read in the 25th chapter about this here tabernacle, that he might dwell among them. Now, if he saw this in the beginning of his vision, then John's got to verify. Revelation 1:12.
Revelations 1 and 12.
Mm-hmm.
And I turned to see the voice that
Oh, wait a
spake.
minute. Now, why is he turning? See, we checked everything out. See? Well, now, here we go. Real quick, go back to Genesis, go back to Exodus, the 33rd chapter, pick up at the 21st verse.
Exodus 33 and 21.
Mm-hmm.
And Yahweh said, Behold, there is a place by me,
There's a place by me.
and thou shalt stand upon a rock.
Oh, there's so much that needs to be explained. I don't like to do a thing half job. There's so much that needs to be explained.
And it shall come to pass, while my glory,
Moses was told when he went into the wilderness that he was going to send an angel before him. And he wanted to know who the angel was that was going to go before him. He was looking for him to verify who that was that was going to go before him. So he's asking him, in this chapter, he's asking him what this, go up to the 33rd chapter in the 12th verse.
33 and 12.
Mm-hmm.
And Moses said unto Yahweh, See, thou sayest unto me, Bring up this people.
Mm-hmm.
And thou hast not let me know whom thou wilt send with me.
We were not letting know who we were going to send with him. So he's looking for him. Read.
Yet thou hast said, I know thee by name.
I know thee by name.
And thou hast also found grace in my sight.
Right.
Now therefore I pray thee, if I have found grace in thy sight,
If I found grace in thy sight,
show me now thy way.
show me now thy way. Now watch. See? Now go down to 21 now.
21. And Yahweh said, Behold, there is a place by me,
There's a place by me,
and thou shalt stand upon a rock.
and thou shalt stand upon a rock.
And it shall come to pass, while my glory passeth by, that I
Then,
will put thee in a cleft of the rock, and will cover thee with my hand while I pass by.
we'll put you in a cliff. And I'm trying to, come on, I need you. Bring the Bible with you. Have you seen me do this before? No. Okay, then that's good then. I'm sorry for that. I thought he had seen people do this before. Okay. Okay. Now what was it? Now Yahweh's telling Moses there's a place by me, and there's a place in the cliff, and I will stand by thee, and I will pass by thee, and you will see my hinder parts. See? Now, when Moses, what he's talking about now, he's getting ready to go back up in the mountain the third time. The second time he went up is when he received the first tables of stones. Remember he came down and he broke the tables of stones? See? Now Yahweh there is telling him to take. See? Hewing out 2 tables of stones like that's in the 34th chapter. I don't have time to read all that. He will take out 2 tables of stones and take them back up in the mountain. Now, you're going to use your Bible as the 2 tables of stones. You're going to be playing Moses, okay? Okay, now, you go up in the mountain, you're going to take it up, and you're going to put it in the cleft of the mountain. See? Now, he said that I will pass by, read that part again.
And it shall come to pass, while my glory passeth by,
While my glory passes by,
that I will put thee in a cleft of the rock.
I will put thee in the cleft. Now, when he said he's going to put him in the cleft, the table stone he hewed out himself. And he places them in the same place we received them from.
Right.
Read.
And will cover thee with my hand
I'm going to cover thee with my hands
while I pass by.
while I pass by.
And I will take away mine hand,
I'm going to take away my hands,
and thou shalt see my back parts.
and thou shalt see my back parts.
But my face shall not be seen.
My face shall not be seen. Now Elohim was walking away from Moses. And all he saw was his hinder parts. See, that's going away. See, I'm just trying to real quick to Genesis and Revelation. Now, the reason why he covered his face was because when the second time when he went to receive the table stone, if you remember in the 20th chapter, Yahweh invited him up in the mount to receive the tables of stone. See? But his table stones are already written. He didn't see them written. So when he goes back up, he had to cover them up while he was up there in the mount. Had his hands over his eyes. He was right in there, the same thing he put in the first table of stone. When he took his hands away, all you could see was his hinder parts. See? All you could see was the hinder parts. So now he's walking away from Moses. Okay? Now, get the Genesis, get Revelations 1. Now you're going to pay another part now. Put your Bible down.
Revelations 1 and 12.
Put down here. Okay. Stay that way. Put your Bible down now. Turn around. There you go. Now.
And I turned to...
Okay, read. Now you're praying John. John. This is what he says to do what he said.
And I turned to see the voice that spake with me. And being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks.
See? He saw him walking in the 7 minutes of 7 golden candlesticks.
Right.
See, I'm talking about he saw him walking in the 7 minutes of golden candlesticks. See, now that means Joshua was walking down to the ages of dispensation. That's right. See, and that's why there's the candlestick has 7 lamps on it. See, and he's walking down to the 7 ages, and he was in the midst of it. He came in the 4th day, in the 4,000th year. See, he come in the midst. So you got 3 days before, he come in the 4th one, and then 3 days after. See, now we're talking about going by that pattern, see. Now he's coming in there, and that's why he says it. Read on in Revelations.
And in the midst of the 7 golden
And
candlesticks,
in the midst of the 7 golden candlesticks,
one like unto the Son of Man,
one like unto the Son of Man. And is that what Moses saw, the Son of Man? Read.
clothed with the garment down to the foot.
Now he's looking at this here tabernacle. No, it's down on his side. Clothed the garment down to his feet. See? Read on.
His head,
His head.
and girt about the paps with the golden girdle.
What about the path of the golden girdle?
His head and his hairs were white like
His
wool,
hair was like white like wool.
as white as snow.
As white as snow.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire.
His eyes was a flame of fire.
And his feet like unto fine brass.
His feet is like now if you take that and look at that and lay this here tabernacle over it, he's looking right at the tabernacle. The feet is brown. The altar was made out of brass. Feet was fine brass. See? Then you had this golden guard, his path was of gold. The vessels in the holy place, most of the places were overlaid with gold. See? He's looking at it. See, he said that Yahweh dwelled in the cloud between the wings of the cherubim. That's why his hair is half white as a cloud. See? He's going to appear there. The eyes is flame of fire. When that, on the day of atonement, when that high priest went in that through that blood that 21st time, the Shekinah flashed. See? And he saw that light. And all John was doing was just confirm what Moses saw. See? It confirms that. Okay, then let's go on. I got to move on because my time is on. Thank you very much. See? Now that showed him coming down to John. John's on the outer pathway to confirm what Moses said. See? Now we're going to real quickly do that. See? Now, give me we showed that he's confirmed what Moses saw in the beginning of his vision. Now give me Revelation 11. Let's try 13 and 8 first, I think. I want to go that way. Then 11 and 8.
11 and 8.
Uh-huh.
And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city.
Their dead bodies shall lie in the city, in the streets of the great city, read.
Which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
Which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Read on.
Where also Yahweh was crucified, or Joshua was crucified, excuse me.
Where Joshua was crucified. Now you know Joshua was not crucified in Egypt or in Sodom. But this was a type of the figure. Oh, you don't have it on there, okay. There's a cross that Dr. Henry had printed on this chart. And the cross was to show that they picked up what John was seeing with this here situation down here. Where they put the blood of the lamb on this door. They made a cross down here. That was a type of Yahshua being crucified outside the walls of Jerusalem. See? So I'm just trying to show you how he's verifying what you have down here. See? So, and you know when Pharaoh wouldn't let Israel go, and Yahweh said he destroyed the firstborn down in that age, the city was just people laying all over the place, dead. See, this land was tore up when the children of Israel left Egypt. That land was devastated. See? And you're showing John looking back at it in the spirit. See? Where our Savior was crucified in Solomon in Egypt. See? Now there was a dead. Now read on a little bit further there.
And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half.
3 days and a half. See, now that's how long they were to walk 3 days coming up out of the land of Egypt through the divided waters of the Red Sea. See? Now go give me Genesis. Give me 13. That was 13:8. You read that? That was 13:8 there.
Genesis 13:8?
No. Revelation.
Revelation 13:8.
See, I'm trying to show you he's verifying what you got back here. See, this is real quick. It's not real clean. I know it's not clean, so but real.
And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him.
All that dwell upon earth shall worship him. Read.
Whose names are not written in the book of life.
Whose names are not written in the book of life. See that book of life back here? See, you got to confirm it. Book of life. See, read on.
Of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world.
Now, we try to show that this Yahweh is pure spirit. And he takes on the shape of the form. Now, that was a death. He's condescending, coming down. That was a death. Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. This down here was only a reflection of what this happened back here. See? So he was a lamb slain from the foundation of the world. He foreknew that all was going to take place. That was foreordained. You and I being here was foreordained. That's powerful, folks. To think about here we are back here in pure spirit before you even had a physical creation. You were thought of. Your presence here is important, see, for yourself, not only that for Yahweh. But it attests to his power. Bring you able to be a person from every walk of life. Bring them together to be able to come to a unified understanding of Yahweh and his purpose and plan. That's beautiful, folks.
Yes, it is.
And it's powerful too. See? So we're seeing that. That's what he verified. Now give me Revelation 20 and 1.
Revelation 20:1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven.
I saw an angel come down from heaven.
Having the key of the bottomless pit.
Having the key of the bottomless pit.
And a great...
Now what was the bottomless pit? See? From Adam, when he transgressed back here, death passed upon all men. And when every man died, he was in bondage to the grave. Didn't know how to get out of the grave. Adam didn't know how to get out of the grave. Abraham didn't know how to get out. Moses didn't know how to, all those ones are buried, dead. Didn't know how to get out of the grave. So here you have him. See? And it says that angel come down to the bottomless pit. Do you remember when the Messiah was crucified? That angel came down. Those soldiers fell down as dead men. See? So, that angel just lit up the place. See, I'm talking about the presence of that angel. See? And then it came down. Now, remember now, mankind hadn't escaped the grave yet. But when the Messiah raised from the dead, now he's overcoming death, hell, and the grave. And Satan doesn't want to have power over death. But not now. But he's now taking victory over it. So now what you have now, you've got to see him deliver it. Now what happens now? See, you deliver them from that. See? Having the chain of darkness. From this age of this chain, he's come right on down. See, death, burial, resurrection. See, coming on down. We're talking about ages linked together, coming down. That's what the chain is. See, he's bringing the end of the post-Diluvian age, coming into the present age. See, that's what he's doing. That angel had to come down and open that tomb. See, and when God's Messiah raised from the dead, a quickening spirit. Now he's raised a quickening spirit. Not a physical body, but a quickening spirit. See, now, read on a little further in there.
And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit. and a great chain in his hand.
Read.
And he laid hold on the dragon,
Lay hold on the dragon,
that old serpent,
which
which is the devil,
is the devil, the same one was back there in the garden. Now he's got him down here. He laid hold on him, caught him. See, read.
and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years.
Bound him 1,000 years. When the Messiah raised from the dead, Satan was shut up that whole day. Remember, 1,000 years with Yahweh is one day. So when the Messiah raised from the dead, that was Yahweh in a body. So when that was a whole day, he was shut up. He couldn't say nothing, couldn't do nothing about it. Now what happened was these soldiers, they left the gravesite, went back up to the Pharisees and the scribes, see, and told them he raised from the dead like he said he would. Then they went into hard negotiations. See? They want to say, we can't let this get out. See? Here's some money. You go out and you tell them the disciples came and stole them away. See? They got bribed. See? And they said, well, we go in trouble because they're going to say that we will sleep on the job. See? You know, they were put to death. They would sleep on the job.
Right.
So we'll take care of that. Just tell them the disciples came and stole them away while you were asleep. See? Now, I'm trying to show you how to verify it now. See? Now, they took that. See? And now they were shut up that whole day. They couldn't say anything about it the whole day. Now, that same day the Messiah was raised from the dead, what was he doing? He's making appearances. Appeared to Mary Magdalene. Appeared to the left, the tenant. Then he appeared to the left. So he's making appearances all the way down through there. So he's appearing to them all the way down there. Now, see, now, we'll read on further.
And cast him into the bottomless pit.
Cast him into the bottomless pit.
And shut him up.
Shut him up.
And set a seal upon him.
And set a seal upon him.
That he should deceive the nations no more.
They should deceive the nations no more.
Till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled.
Till that whole day was all passed.
And
then after that,
he must be loose.
got to be loose for a little season. See? Now he's loose for a little season. Now, give me Revelations 21. They're 21 and 1.
Revelations 21 and 1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth.
Now here's John on the Isle of Patmos. See? And we're saying he's there to confirm, to verify what Moses saw. See? So here he is in the Spirit. See? And he said he was in the Spirit. Well, that's what Moses was in the Spirit. They had to be the same place, same time. See? Now here he is reading. I said, I saw a new heaven and a new earth. Read.
For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away.
What are you talking about, John? See? When you look back down here, you see the children of Israel. They come up out of Egypt, go through the divided waters of the Red Sea. See, then this is past. First heaven and first earth had passed away. Read.
And there was no more sea.
There was no more sea. The sea was behind them now. Read.
And I,
John,
saw the holy city.
Now he said, I, John, saw the holy city.
New Jerusalem.
New Jerusalem.
Coming down from Yahweh.
What do you mean, John? What you talking about? See, Moses wept in his mouth, which is like unto heaven. And he received this divine vision, this tabernacle pattern. That there was the New Jerusalem. See? And he's coming down with that in his mind. And as he comes down from the mountain with that in his mind. See, read.
Prepared as a bride adorned for her husband.
Prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Read.
And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying.
Then, when he brought that tabernacle down and imparted them, and they went and built this here tabernacle up, then John said, I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, read.
Behold.
The
tabernacle of Yahweh.
The tabernacle of Yahweh.
Is with me.
Is with me. So it was done. See? All you do is confirm what you got back there. See? Tabernacle of Yahweh is with me. See? Read it before.
And he will dwell with them.
And he will dwell with them.
And they shall be his people.
And they shall be his people.
And Yahweh himself shall be with them.
And Yahweh himself shall be with them. Now that's what's supposed to be happening with us over here now. See? He should be dwelling with you. Not of the brother, sun, moon, and stars as the world have you got you out there doing. But he should be in your heart and in your mind. So you should be seeing that now. Okay? Now, Revelation 22.
Revelations 22 and 1. And he showed me a pure river.
They say he saw a pure river. See, now see, the next thing is we come out of Egypt, past the Red Sea, down in the wilderness. Now what you got from? the River Jordan. Show up a pure river of water proceeding out of the throne of Yahweh. Read it.
As clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of Yahweh and of the Lamb, in the midst of the street of it, and on the either side of the river, was there the tree of life.
You had the 12 tribes gathered around the tabernacle here. They went across the River Jordan, went over to build the temple, and the 12 tribes gathered around that temple back there. See, on either side of the river was the tree of life. See, read.
Which bare 12 manner of fruit. And yielded her fruit every month.
See, now that's what we see happen there. That's a real quick synopsis of John verifying what Moses said. So he saw and what Moses and the children were doing as they come about the land of Egypt. This confirmation of that. And all he's doing is confirming over and over again. See, now when we understand that, we get an eye opener of what Yahweh's doing down to the age of dispensation. See, all he's doing is repeating over and over again. See, well, our problem is we fail to realize what's going on. So we're busy trying to apply it to ourselves. Because we're busy trying to apply it. Every little thing, see, the Lord is my shepherd. Well, who did you have as your Lord? You didn't know his name. See? We just try to apply everything that we can back here. Now, one other thing I'm going to be through. You have the world out here teaching that this man who the world calls Jesus Christ, who we know is Yahshua the Messiah, his mission was not to set up a Christian way of life. He did not come in to institute anything for you and I to do for salvation. He did it all for us. You and I, maybe would you sit still, hear the word of Yahweh. Now this has the power to deliver you or to raise you from the dead. That's all you got to do. Pay attention, learn about Yahweh. See, but now what we want to do, what the world wants you to do is go through the things he did. See, so when the Messiah comes in, all he's doing is fulfilling what's in the law and in the prophets. Let me have real quickly Matthew 5, 17, and 18, real quick. This is going to be quick.
5, 17, and 18. Mm-hmm. Think not that I have come to destroy them.
Now he's telling the Jews at that time, think not that I have come to destroy the law of the prophets, read.
Or the prophets. Uh-huh. I am not come to destroy,
I'm not come to destroy,
but to fulfill.
Now the law and the prophets are what testify of him. That's his witnesses. You don't want to destroy his witnesses. See, I've come not to destroy the law and the prophets. Read on.
For verily I say unto you.
For verily or truly I say unto you.
Till heaven and earth pass.
One jot.
Or one tittle. Shall in no wise pass from the law. Till all be fulfilled.
Now see back here, Moses back here in the law, he saw heaven and earth pass by him. So down here he's got to bring it up for heaven and earth got to pass down here. See? So heaven and earth has to pass. See, one jot and one tittle shall no wise pass till all be fulfilled. So everything he was doing was in fulfillment of something back in the law and the prophets. Now you don't go back and do what you see him do now. He did that to fulfill it and bring it to an end. Mm-hmm. So you and I going out here playing church. See, got some cracker and wafer, a cracker, some grape juice, and saying we're eating the body of Yahshua Messiah. See, Messiah was fulfilling what he gave them back down here in Egypt when he gave them about the land. He's fulfilling that, moving that out of the way, that you now can partake of him in the spirit, not from a natural standpoint now, but of the spirit. So all he's doing is fulfilling it. See, so when you understand what he's doing, you won't be doing those type of things. He went to John to be baptized. Why? Because the children were baptized when they went through this Red Sea. So he's being baptized to bring all baptisms to an end. So that now on this side, you're baptized in the word which is preached unto you. So when the word is preached, everybody in this room is receiving the same thing. Now you're either accepting or you're rejecting it. See, now that's your part of that. See, all we are is ministers whereby you believe. See, all we do is deliver it, and you have to have the chance to receive it or not. So now all we're saying to you is that you have to come down and learn about this man's mission, what he comes to do, that you might have an understanding in his mission and what he did for you, that you might now stand in the presence of Yahweh. See, knowing the Son and knowing the Father. See, that's what eternal life is predicated upon. See, if you don't know him, you don't know what you're doing right or wrong. But you don't know what he likes in this life. But we know what he likes in this life. That's why we want to share with you, that you might be benefited by what we have come to understand and know. See, I hope and trust you got something I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. For our next speaker, we'll be calling on the Dean.
Try the mute button.
Our next speaker will be calling on Dr. Oliver Gill, Dean of the Springfield, Ohio branch, and the Northern Regional Dean, and also a member of the Board of Trustees.
I think she almost put me in St. Louis. In Cincinnati.
Try the mute button.
Our next speaker will be calling on Dr. Oliver Gill, Dean of the Springfield, Ohio branch, and the Northern Regional Dean, and also a member of the Board of Trustees.
I think she almost put me in St. Louis. In Cincinnati. But it's good to be here with you all, and I thoroughly enjoyed this, and it has been an enlightening session. Now, Yahweh picked up a man called Habakkuk. Then the second chapter of Habakkuk, Yahweh told Habakkuk, he said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that they that read it might run. Now, if this is not the vision, then you ought to go and try to find what that vision is. Because he said this vision that he gave Habakkuk, he said it was not for then, but it was for a future time. And so now the founders of this institute, Henry C. Kinley, made the claim that in the year 1931, Yahweh caught him up into the third heaven. We didn't know about the first heaven, let alone the third one.
Right.
But in the third heaven of eternity itself, it gave him this divine vision and also a revelation. Now this vision is what helps us to understand these great esoteric secrets and mysteries that are written in this Bible. Now, because of this vision, Dr. Kinley was able to, and we ain't not giving the man any credit, because he doesn't deserve any, but it's the spirit in the man. Now, he gave us some keys to understand, unlock these mysteries, and one has already been talked about with this tabernacle passage. This is the key to knowledge. But he also gave us some more little pieces of the puzzle. And you also heard that, since you've been here, that one of those keys is, as Psalm 94, 2 Peter 3 and 8 says, one day with Yahweh is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is as one day. And that's one of the keys. Now another key is this, is that death, there's a spiritual death, and there's a physical death. Go back to Revelations, and the 20th chapter, and start with the first verse this time.
Revelation.
Wait a minute. Now, I know probably some of you all way over there can't see this, but what I got wrote up here, I got death. And then here I have spiritual and physical. So there's a death that can be experienced in the spirit, or the death in the physical. Now then, this is going to help us to understand one of these mysteries of Yahweh, which he has written in this 20th chapter of Revelation. Read.
Revelations 20:1.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent,
Mm-hmm.
which is the devil and Satan,
Mm-hmm.
and bound him 1,000 years.
And he said he bound him 1,000 years. Now watch. The beginning of this. Now, we see right here in the Garden of Eden, when Yahweh created this man Adam and placed him in the garden as a type and a shadow of himself. So this Adam here, the Adam of the earth, is a type and shadow of the second Adam. Now the commandment to this man was, you can eat of all the trees that is in the midst of the garden, but the fruit is the trees in the garden, but the fruit in the midst of the garden, you shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it. For if you touch it, or if you eat it, then that's the day you shall surely die. Is that right? Now we already stated now, Yahweh can't lie. And so this is the commandment given to the man. So now, Satan enters in after the woman is taken from the man. And Satan enters in to the garden here, and he deceives this woman. And he didn't tell the woman to do something bad. He didn't tell Eve to pick up a rock and hit Adam in the head with it. All he did was he asked Eve, said, what did Yahweh say about the eating of the tree? She said, we can eat of all the fruit of the trees in the garden except the one in the midst of the garden. She was not ignorant of what the commandment was. But she got deceived in it because Satan told her, you won't surely die, but you will be as wise as Yahweh. So she took the fruit and she ate. And then not only did she eat, she gave it to her husband and he did eat. Now, this man is willingly, he is not deceived. Eve is deceived in Eve. Adam is not deceived. He just willingly dies for his bride, Eve. Because he's setting up the type and shadow of Yahshua the Messiah. When he comes in, he's going to die for his bride. Yeah. So now then, when they took the fruit of the tree, then it said, and listen to this too, it said when the woman partook of the fruit of the tree, Yahweh didn't do a thing. After the man, he waited until after the man partook. Then he drove that man out of the garden. Didn't say the woman. Say he drove that, and that means, driven means to me being put out, that you don't want to go. So he drove that man out of that garden. Let me give you a little laugh. Kindergarten teacher told her little great children, says write a story about something in the Bible. So they did, and she looked at it. One had a picture of the ark of the ark here with Noah. Some had another thing, but then she looked at one, and she looked at this picture, and they had a great big car, long car, magnificent. Up front was an old man with a beard with a chauffeur's cap on. In the back was a man and a woman naked. She said, Johnny, she said, didn't I tell you to write something out of the Bible? He said, I did. She said, well, what is this? He said, that's God driving Adam and Eve out of the garden. You know, they get drove to little league practice, and they get drove to this. Now he drove this man out of this garden. Dad said the man lived to be 930 years old. And he had many sons and daughters. Where did he die? Because Yahweh said the day. See, it said Yahweh waited until the cool of the day. That meant the sun was going down in the sky. And it was turning dark. And this man was driven out of this garden. Now then, it said that he lived 930. That means this. The man died in his conscience, in his soul, or he was spiritually dead. And it's going to manifest in his body, because it takes Romans 1, 19 and 20 for the invisible things of Yahweh clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made. So if we're going to see this spiritual death he experienced here, then we have to see something natural. So then the man lived 930 years, and then he died. Now, one day with Yahweh is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is as one day. This man lived 70 years short of a 1,000-year day with Yahweh. All right. So, but it was showing you the spiritual death. Now, when he died, then in Romans, the 5th chapter, it said, by sinning or disobeying in the garden, brought about sin. Now then, sin brings about death. And it said death reigned from Adam to Moses. Did death stop reigning when Moses came in? No. Here you got death reigning without the law. No law is given. Then when Moses comes along and Yahweh gives Moses the law, now you got death reigning with the law. So death is going to reign all the way down until you get the one who puts an end to death, which is Yahshua the Messiah. But what I'm trying to get you to see is everybody's dead, spiritually so, walking around, dead in your conscience and in your soul. That's the reason why I told you the other night, Yahshua the Messiah, when he said that the hour cometh and now is when the dead shall hear the voice of Yahweh and live, he talked to everybody. Dr. Kelly, when he had his office on Coanga Boulevard, the woman walked in, this woman walked in and her husband had died and she wanted to get in contact, she wanted a medium to get in contact with her dead husband. She asked Dr. Kelly, she said, can you talk to the dead? He said, that's all I talk to. See? Now everybody's dead from the fall of Adam, spiritually so. And when you go to the graveyard, that's a natural type. Now look, when the transgression took place here, then Yahweh said to the woman, he said, in childbearing shall you bring forth children in sorrow. And you women that have had babies, you know about it. And if men were birthing babies, or they was having babies, it would be a whole lot less people in the world. Men can't tolerate pain like a woman can. You see? But now, this is what he told the woman. This is what he told the woman. First he told Adam. He said, Adam, what is this you've done? Alibis and excuses start right here. Adam, what is that you've done? Where Yahweh is that? Hey, is that woman you gave me? She made me do it. Like it was her fault. See? Now when he comes to the woman, now he told her and said, in sorrow shall you bring forth offspring. But now also he told her something else. He said, now your seed, which is going to be coming down through that 63 generations from Adam down to Yahshua the Messiah. He's coming in, he's the true seed. He said, your seed shall bruise Satan's head. And the seed of Satan, or Satan, he shall bruise his heel. So that was the prophecy of bruising the heel and the head. So now when Yahshua the Messiah, who is Yahweh himself in that sacrificial body, and we tell you all the time, we say, don't take all the pure spirit and just take on the shape and form. So now here he is manifested, I'm talking about Yahweh himself is manifested in the sonship degree as a sacrifice when he's on the earth plane. Now it was Satan and the people that caused them to put Yahshua on the cross. So they crucified the Messiah. But one thing about it was, he said, no man taketh my life, except I lay it down. And he said, and if I lay it down, I have the power to pick it up again. That's the reason why we're afraid to die, because we don't know if we're going to get up or not, or what's on the other side. But Yahshua the Messiah did. Now then, that was symbolic of Satan bruising his heel. Now when Yahshua the Messiah, when he rose victorious over death, hell, and the grave, it was symbolic. He wounded Satan in the head. And Judas, you got these types and shadows of the beast man of sin. Pharaoh was one of them. Pharaoh was one of them. You got to go on back and Nimrod them. Now you got these manifestations of the beast man of sin in the world. Now Judas at the time, and like this, Yahshua said, you have not chosen me, but I've chosen you, and one of you is the devil. Is that right? Maybe you hadn't read it. But he said, one of you is the devil. Well, you would think, well, why have you chose someone to oppose you to be along with you? Because Yahweh has a purpose. And just like his light here, you got to have a negative and a positive to have the light. So now, in order for Yahshua to carry out his purpose, he's got to have that one or that adversary who is against him. So now Judas was acting as that beast man of sin. Now when Yahshua was crucified, Judas went out and he hung himself the night before the Messiah was crucified. So then he was placed in the grave. Now when Yahshua, when he went into the grave, if the seed dropped in the grave, then he resurrects. So now when Yahshua, when he raises from the dead, it said many of the sons that slept in the dust of the earth said they rose and they went into Jerusalem with him. Jerusalem above, beneath, is allegorical to Jerusalem above. So when they went into Jerusalem, physically, Jerusalem here, types and shadows of heaven, it said many of the people saw this, but Judas, he was bound, still in the grave, when those that rose and went on into Jerusalem with the Messiah. Those that rose and went on into Jerusalem with the Messiah, as already been stated by Dr. Allen, they reigned with him for all that day as Yahweh declared it to be 1,000 years. So, they're reigning with Yahweh for 1,000 years.
Right.
Satan is bound.
Right.
That angel came down and with a great chain and he bound Satan in the abyss. And now when the sons of Yahweh resurrected out of there, Satan was still bound. He was bound all that day. Now it says after the 1,000 years, or after that day is over, then Satan is loose for a little season. And now he's going into the earthquake. Now they get what they call a battle of Armageddon. And people say, well, when it's going to be? Where it's going to be? It's going to be in the valley of Mediggo. No, this is a spiritual warfare that's been going on ever since the day of Pentecost. When Yahshua, the Holy Spirit, invaded into the earth plane, then that was the battle beginning, and Satan is going upon the breadth of the earth. Hey, he's gathering his army to battle against today. Now all that's going on, and that's what we read that in Revelations. Read.
Revelations 20 and 3. And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up.
Now types and shadows and allegories, you can see then when Judas is in the grave, and he's bound in that 1,000 years, he didn't raise up out of there. That's symbolic, he's bound for that 1,000 years. We already give you the equivalent of this. One day with Yahweh is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is that one day. Read.
And set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled.
Now, after the 1,000 years was fulfilled, or after that one day, that those who resurrected Yahshua the Messiah and went on into Jerusalem with him and said many saw this, after that was over. Read.
And after that, he must be loosed a little season. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahshua, and for the word of Yahweh, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his idol, neither had received his mark upon their forehead,
Read.
or in their...
You know what? I remember when the first coming out was scandals. You know, in the supermarket. One man I didn't even know a stranger. He said, "See," he said, "there is the mark of the beast. if you don't have the mark, you can't buy or sell." You know, people got all kinds of thoughts of what they think. You see, when he's talking about that in your conscience, in your heart, in your mind. Yeah, they no big 6 mark, just like back here with Cain. Said he put a mark on it. He wouldn't walk around with a great big 6 on his head. You see? Symbolic. So now read.
Neither have received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with the Messiah 1,000 years.
See, they went on into Jerusalem and they reigned and lived with him for that 1,000-year day, or that one day there. Read.
But the rest of the dead lived not again.
Now remember Dr. Keller asked the question, who is the rest of the dead? Who are they? Who are they? He said, now, these are physically dead. They rose, went on into Jerusalem with him. But the rest of the dead lived not again until 1,000 years was expired. He said, who was the rest of the dead? He said, that was Peter, James, and John, and everybody else, because they are not going to live until the day of Pentecost. So that's the rest of the dead. Now on the day of Pentecost, Joshua the Messiah coming in. Joshua said, I come in that men might have life and have it more abundantly. Now what we're talking about is men walk around, they had life, mortal life, but he's talking about immortal life. So he's coming in and men might have immortal life and have it more abundantly. So now then, when we see that, then see the rest of the dead, as according to the founder that brought this to us, he said, now Peter, James, and John, they had not received the Holy Spirit at that time, so they were still in their sins and dead. So the rest of the dead lived not again until after the 1,000 years was expired. Joshua the Messiah, after he risen from the dead, he can't run on into Jerusalem, in heaven itself. He's got to guard this path. Israel down here, 3 days to and through the Red Sea. They get into the wilderness of Sinai and they're wandering around in here for 40 years. Joshua the Messiah, he's in the tomb 3 days, just like they were 3 days coming up out of Egypt. And they got in the wilderness and they walk around 40 years. Joshua the Messiah. Now another one of those equations is 1 day for prophetic time, 1 day for a year. So if they walked around in the wilderness here for 40 years, then Joshua the Messiah, when he raises from the dead, he fulfills this 40 years in 40 days.
Right.
So when he raises from the dead, said he tarried on earth 40 days, in accordance to them tarrying in the earth in the wilderness 40 years. Then after that, then he ascended from the Mount of Olives. And then 10 days later, which would make 50 days from the time of his resurrection, or 53 days from his death, burial, then on that 50th day, then the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. And when the Holy Spirit came, that they were made alive. Peter, James, and John, and the rest of them, and everybody else that have received his Spirit, now you're made alive. So the rest of the dead lived not again until after the 1,000 years was expired. But Satan, what's the nerve, I would say, for lack of words, how that, see, when Joshua the Messiah, after he was baptized in the River Jordan, just like the children of Israel were baptized in the Red Sea here, they went into wilderness. Joshua, after he's baptized, he goes into wilderness, and after he was hungry, I think it was 40 days, then Satan came to him in that period of weakness, so-called. And now he told Joshua, he said, now look, you just bow down and worship me. I'll give you all that you see. Didn't own a thing. But I'm going to give you all. Now then, he has the gall to try to tempt or test Joshua the Messiah. What do you think he's going to do with you? You receive the Holy Spirit, you think he's going to leave you alone? He's always going to be trying to break back in. Break back in. So this is and we try to show you all the time how relentless he is in this. And so now then, here he now is gathering his forces. And this battle is going on. Paul says our weapons of warfare are not carnal. Ain't guns, bombs. But they're mighty through the Holy Spirit. Pulling down strongholds. You can't have no stronghold up here. You remember the Vietnam War? You remember those monks that was dousing themselves with gasoline and setting themselves on fire? Yeah. Would you do that?
No.
A lot of us, I'll put it like this, a lot of us claim we got the Holy Spirit. Would we do that? For a belief. They burnt themselves up for a belief. So this is a stronghold that you can get. And now this imagination and all of this opinions and theories. They got to be cast down. And how they're cast down is through the preaching of the gospel. That's how it's done. Said in Yahshua the Messiah in Thessalonians, that see, with the brightness of his coming, I tried to show you that last night. It talks about we shall be caught up in the air with him. The dead shall be caught up with him in the air. He shall descend from heaven with a shout. Don't you know that when you come in here without a knowledge of your heavenly Father, you're spiritually dead? And by the preaching of the gospel, you got to be caught up in your seat. And he's got to descend with the gospel and catch us up in the air with him. That's what you talk about. Two be in the field. One be grinding. One is caught, one is not. The preaching of the gospel. Any man believe on me, as the scripture said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. Living water being flowing out. Now here, some get it, some don't. Two in the field. See, one caught up. And when we talk about caught up, we're talking about spiritually caught up. That's what we're talking about. And so now, since you're caught up, now, Hebrews 12:24.
Hebrews 12:24.
Look.
And to Yahshua.
Wait. John the Revelator. He says, over there in Revelation, the 7th and the 14th chapter, he said, I saw the Lamb stand on Mount Zion. And with the Lamb, he by himself alone. He said he saw 144,000 standing on the mountain with the Lamb, right? In types and shadows and allegory. Then you see when Joshua, who is really Yahshua, when he brings the children of Israel across the Jordan River. And by the way, the Jordan River parted just like the Red Sea. You don't hear nobody out here arguing about the Red Sea. About the Jordan River. They argued down here was a sea of reeds with a low tide. Hey, this happened also. But the reason why they ain't arguing about it because most people don't know it. That parted just like the Red Sea did. Joshua carried them over into Canaan land, which is a type and shadow of heaven itself, which is called the Promised Land. And after the conquest of Canaan's land, then Joshua was standing on the mountain, and with Joshua was 144,000. Those are the tribes of Israel. 12 tribes of Israel multiplied 12 times, so it's 144. The number 144 is not the essence. It's the multiplication of these tribes up here. Now then, after he said he saw the 144, he said, and while I looked, John said, while I looked, I saw a number so great that no man could number. What are you doing now? I'm seeing the Gentiles also included in this standing on the mountain with the Lamb. And by the way, I've been telling you last night, when John is out here on the Isle of Patmos, he's at least 80 years old. Because if he was 18 or 20, when he was that young man walking around with Yahshua the Messiah, he's 63 years later out here on this island in 1896, 63 more years, so he's at least 80. He's an old man. Now then, John is looking at it, he said, I saw a lamb stand on Mount Zion. What do you think the spiritual significance is of what he's looking at? Right.
That is the 12th and 24th verse.
Right.
And to Yahshua the mediator of the new covenant, and to the blood of sprinkling that speaketh better things than that of Abel. See that you refuse not him that speaketh. For if they escape not with refuse him that speak on earth, much more shall not we escape, if we turn away from him that speaketh from heaven, whose voice then shook the earth. But now he hath promised, saying, yet once more.
Many of you remember when Mount St. Helens blew up over there? Do you think when that thing was shaking and the smoke and you go stand there, don't you think you would have been running? This mountain here is quaking and shaking. Smoke, fire, comes out of that mountain. You think them Israelites going to stand there? Am I talking a foreign language? when this mountain is, I'm talking Mount Sinai, when the cloud fell on Mount Sinai, and the blackness and the smoke and the mountain was quaking and shaking, and they saw that, you think them people going to stand there on their own? I should have said that. It took just as much power to cause those people to stand there as it did anything else. Now, read.
Whose voices shook the earth.
Shaking that earth. Read.
But now he has promised.
You ever seen anybody, well, especially when you're in school, they call on you, get up and give a book report, or something, you stand there, legs just shaking. That's an earthquake. You are the dust of the earth. That is the earthquake. Stand there shaking and quaking. This mountain is shaking and quaking in fire. Read.
But now he hath promised, saying, Yet once more I shake not the earth only, but also heaven.
Oh, give me where it said, you have not come to the mountain.
22nd verse.
But ye are come unto Mount Zion.
No, come up just one verse.
18.
Sinai, which they were not to touch. Not to touch this mountain. Why is that? Because the presence of Yahweh was on the top of that mountain. See, read.
And that burned with fire, nor unto blackness and darkness and tempest. And the sound of a trumpet and the voice of words, which voice they that heard entreated that the word should not be spoken to them any more. For they could not endure that which was commanded. And if so much as a beast touch the mountain, it shall be stoned.
How much time I got?
15 minutes.
Okay, go ahead.
Or thrust through with a spear.
Now, if they touched this mountain, then they were to be killed. Both are lightning. Read.
And so terrible was the sight that Moses said, I exceedingly fear and quake. But ye are come unto Mount Zion.
But you haven't come to this mountain that might not be touched. But what about it? But what?
But ye are come unto Mount Zion.
You have come unto Mount Zion. Read.
And unto the city of the living Elohim.
And to the city of, no, you going to come? He said you already come? Read.
The heavenly Jerusalem.
He said you come to heavenly Jerusalem. How do you get to that? You take I-75 north? I-91? Where you get to this city he's talking about? Don't you remember they talking about Abraham walked length and breadth of that land, but he never set foot on the holy city?
Yep.
Talking about in the spirit. He walked the physical land, length and breadth, but he said he never once set his foot on the holy land. Hey, that's what we're talking about, this heavenly Jerusalem. Because now it said we are making a habitation of Yahweh in the spirit. So we flipping from the natural to the spirit. Read.
And to an innumerable company of angels.
So you have come to an innumerable company of angels. Read.
To the general assembly and church of the firstborn, who are written in heaven, and to Yahweh, the judge of all.
He already told you about the book of life, which is called the book of Joshua. And he said Moses saw that book, and he saw the names in that book, and that's the reason why when Israel had transgressed Yahweh's laws here, Moses entreated for Israel's sake, he said, Yahweh, blot me out of thy book, I pray. So he had seen that book. He had seen his name in the book. Now here in Revelation say, you don't want your name blotted out of the book, erased or blotted over. See? Read. But you have come to Mount Zion, to a city of living Elohim, to an innumerable company of angels. Read.
And to the spirits of just men made perfect, and to Yahshua, the mediator of the new covenant.
So when John is looking back in the spirit of the thing, he says, I see a lamb standing on the mountain, and with the lamb 144,000, a new company of angels, many that can't be counted. What do you think he's looking at? He's looking now at all of you who have received his spirit. Psychologically and spiritually speaking, you are already standing on, that's what he said, you have already come to this, you are standing on the mountain with the Lamb. And that's a beautiful thing to be a part of that company, to have his spirit of Yahweh in you. And that's the thing that we're talking about, Paul said this mystery, this great esoteric secret was the Messiah in you, your only hope of glory. Now I'm going to do this and I'm finished. And I know probably a lot of you back there won't be able to see that. But when we get into the 2300 days, now they asked the Messiah, they said, give us a sign. And he said, there will be no sign given except as Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights, so shall the Son of Man be in the heart of the earth 3 days and 3 nights. Now that's got the world confused. They don't know how to do this. They don't know how. Because you get him crucified on Friday, and very early on Sunday morning, he's resurrected out of that. You can't get 3 physical days out of that. And so some of them want to go all the way back to Wednesday, having been crucified, so they could get him in the tomb 3 days and 3 nights. And we ain't boasting because we didn't know this until Dr. Kelly. Well, I'm even talking about Dr. Kelly. The Spirit brought this to us. So in the book, in the Bible, it speaks of 3 days. It speaks of the preparation day. That's the day he was crucified. It speaks of the first day of the week, the Sabbath, because he was crucified out here on Friday. And then when the sun was going down that day, that brought about the Sabbath day. So they had to get him down off that cross before the sun went down, and they put him in the tomb, and he's in there all day on Saturday. And very early in the morning, he rose, victorious over death, hell, and the grave. Now you have to look at this as the 2300 days, as 1 day with Yahweh is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is as 1 day, right? Let's start on Friday. And I do it like this because it's a little bit easier to see. This is a clock. 6 o'clock, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now this is Friday. This is the day that the Messiah is crucified. This is the preparation day. And we know that according to the purpose, the lambs or the sacrifices, they're offered up in the morning. Morning sacrifice. What time? 9 o'clock in the morning. So that means this. That when Joshua is crucified out here on Friday, then he's got to be crucified 9 o'clock in the morning. 9. Now then, when he's put on the cross, it says it gradually turning dark until from the 6th to the 9th hour. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what time it was. That's from 12 to 3. So you got a phenomenal darkness from 12 to 3 o'clock. Now you got to go back to Yahweh. Yahweh said, the light I'll call day, and the darkness I'll call night. He didn't say 12 hours a day or 12 hours a night. He just said, the light I'll call darkness, it's a day, and the darkness I'll call night. When they put the Messiah on the cross, 9 o'clock in the morning, that's the first day, light. Now then, when it turns dark over the face of the deep, that's symbolic of a night. Stay that way. Give me the prophet at the evening time it shall turn. One is in Zechariah today. And what's the other? Amos. Yeah.
8 and 9.
All right. Now remember now, we're dealing with Yahweh's time, not man. All right, read.
Amos 8 and 9. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh.
What day? It shall come to pass in that day. What day? The day that the Messiah is crucified. Read.
That I will cause the sun to go down at noon.
Then it turns dark. when he's on the cross, I tried to show you yesterday how that this is the sun, the true sun, which the sun is the ethereal heaven and the type and shadow. He's going down. It turned dark out there. He's going down in darkness. Or the sun is going down in darkness. Read. So it turned dark.
And I will darken the earth in the clear day. Mm-hmm. And I will turn your feasts into mourning, and all your songs into lamentation. Mm-hmm. And I will bring you sackcloth upon all loins.
Okay. Now the other.
Zechariah 14:6. And it shall come to pass in that day.
It shall come to pass in that day.
That the light shall not be clear.
The light's not going to be clear.
Nor dark.
Nor dark.
But it shall be one day.
Mm-hmm.
Which shall be known to Yahweh. Mm-hmm. Not day nor night.
He says not day. Why ain't this day? Because it's dark. Why isn't it night? Because it's 12 o'clock in the day. So it's not day and it's not night. Known only unto Yahweh. Turned dark out there because it's stitched darkness out there when the sun was blotted out, because this sun is going down in darkness. S-O-N is going down in darkness out there. Then the sun in the ethereal heavens got to refuse to give any light. So just like Adam coming down in darkness, Joshua the Messiah going out in darkness. So it's not day because it's dark, but it ain't day, it ain't night because it's 12 o'clock in the day. Not day and not night. Day known only unto Yahweh. So as far as Yahweh is concerned, he done already got one day and one night in this. Then in the evening time, keep reading.
But it shall come to pass that at evening time.
But at the evening time, when the sun is supposed to be going down,
it shall be light.
It shall be light. So here it got light again. So already, as far as Yahweh is concerned, we got one day, one night, and another day. I put days here, so it won't be confusing. Day. Now then, after this is the phenomenal part of that day. Steady black darkness from 12 to 3. After 3 o'clock, then it turns back to regular day. So then you're going to have regular day again from 3 to 6. And then when the sun goes down, then you're going to have another night. So already on Friday, you got 2 days and 2 nights, for Yahweh is concerned. And then on the Sabbath day, then you got a regular day and a regular night. That makes another day and another night. That makes 3 days and 3 nights. From Friday until Sunday morning. Sunday morning. See why we get confused, because Satan got us thinking that Sunday is the weekend and Sunday is the first day of the week. Radio announcement. Here we got the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Sunday night, not the weekend. Sunday is the first day of the week. Oh man, see how we got all. And now then, since that's the way it happens, then he's showing you how that you can get 3 days and 3 nights within this time frame. And the world out there, they're still trying to get it. They'll back it. I said they'll back it up all the way back to sometime Wednesday to try to show that the Messiah is in the tomb 3 physical days and 3 physical nights. Now, as soon as they took the Messiah and nailed him to the cross, Yahweh considered him in the heart of the earth. That's right. Just like back here with the promise to Abraham, your seed shall go down into the land and be there some 400 years, 430. You cannot get physically 430 them children of Israel down there, because Abraham hasn't even got a son and no children yet. So as far as Yahweh, you got to bring forth children, and they got to bring forth children. Then later on they go down into Egypt. But as far as Yahweh is concerned, as soon as he said that to Abraham, he's already counted them in Egypt. So as soon as they nailed the Messiah to the cross, Yahweh considered that in the heart of the earth. Now Joshua said, if I be lifted up, and they laid him down, and Prince, the entertainer, who changed his name to a symbol, and then he changed it back, I think. He said he had been lied to because he had been told that the Messiah was nailed to the cross like this. He said he found out he was nailed to the cross like this. You understand? He said he found out that the Messiah was nailed to the cross like this instead of this. And we've already shown you the proof is that you took the lamb's blood and you got to put it on if this is the door, put it on top of the door. See if you just had it like this, you just have blood there and blood down here, you have 2 points of blood. But you got to have 4 points because the altar, as they showed you yesterday, you got to have blood on the 4 horns of the altar. So then when you take that blood of that lamb, you strike it on the top, 2 side posts, you got a basin to put that blood in. That's symbolic. You may see just like them cut up out of Egypt, they done made the sign of the cross. I mean, the sign of Joshua's on the cross. And Yahweh saying that the wisdom, the proof, is he proved that everything in the universe. You got nails in your hands. You got nails in your feet. Wonder why that Yahweh calls the man to name these nails. Because we walk around proving that he was nailed to the cross in his hands and in his feet. And that he was 33 years old. And he is for the uprightness of the mankind. And Yahweh put 33 when you first born. Got 33 vertebrae. Make you stand upright. And each one of those vertebrae in your back, in your spinal column, that represent one of those days. And to make you upright, walk around. You ain't walk around like a beast. See, on all fours. You see, Yahweh done all this. See the witness and proof. Walk around with it. And just like Christianity out here, they teaching the Trinity. It said that man is made in the image and likeness of Yahweh. Yahweh said to Israel, "Hear, O Israel, for our Yahweh, Yahweh in unity." Now here you are, and I am. We'll walk around, we're body, soul, and spirit, but we're supposed to be one person. And the reason why, you might have multiple personalities. Supposed to be one person. And now, the reason why we made that way is we are a walking, living witness that Yahweh is one. And we testify to that fact because we are one. Oh, it's really beautiful. I hope you got some time.